Okay, so this is our setup for seed starting. There is another table over here, but we're not using it for right now. We just use just some horses with plywood on top, and I have my germinating seed mats underneath the trays going just until they start to germinate, and then I'll take them off. I also put some dome lids on top to keep moisture in, which also keeps them warm so that they'll germinate better and start popping up. And I have some sweet potatoes down there. You can't really see them very well. I'm hoping that they do well and grow some slips, but it's just kind of testing the waters this year with that because we've never done it before. So the first seed tray is celery, and it doesn't really look like anything's coming up yet. So I planted these about 4 or 5 days ago, I would say. None of the celery is coming up in this first tray. And then I do see some broccoli coming up. One broccoli coming up at the very back of this one. None of the lavender so far. And then this one are my red onions. None of those are coming up yet. These are the Utah sweet. None of those are coming up yet. And then I have my sweet yellow onion. And then I'm gonna take that off because a ton of these broccoli are popping up. So let me show you what we're seeing here. So I have these wooden name tags for them, but they're bleeding, so I guess I'm not going to be using those next year for seed starting. But you can see these are popping up really nicely. I did start my broccoli very early this year. It said to start them about 8 to 10 weeks before your last frost date. And they're actually coming up a lot better than I thought that they would. So I might have started them a tad bit too early. It's probably about 10 or 11 weeks before our last frost date right now. I believe it's May 15th is our last frost date, or around there. But I am just kind of testing the waters with these broccoli because I've never grown broccoli from seed before. But they do look really good. Hopefully they are mature enough, but not too mature, that I can still plant them out when the time comes. I'm going to start some more in about probably 3 weeks, just in case these ones end up becoming root bound or anything like that. I might just have to put them in a much larger pot when I transfer them. I do like to transfer like my tomatoes and peppers and things like that. Once they're establishing a lot of roots that are to the bottom, I like to transfer them to bigger pots just so that they have more root area to grow. And then they really focus on those leaves. And I do pinch off the first 2 leaves that the tomatoes get. And that's usually when they have their true leaves after the first 2. So I usually will pinch off the first 2 leaves of the tomato plants so that they put energy into growing their real true leaves. But yeah, so this is our setup so far. It's nothing perfect, it's nothing pretty, but it's getting the job done. And thank you to my husband for getting it all set up for me. I'm excited to have these all germinate. Hopefully they all do well, and really crossing my fingers about that. I was really upset last year that we weren't able to start our plants from seeds, so I always get a little bit insecure about my ability to grow plants because I always thought I would kill everything because I can't keep anything indoors alive. But my vegetable plants have always done pretty well over the past few years since I started. So I think it's just a little bit of hesitation and doubt in there, but they usually do pretty well. And I'm usually quite happy with my turnout. My tomatoes and peppers usually do really well. And my onions did awesome 2 years ago when I started them from seed in these open trays where there's no cells in them. So it's just open and they should do pretty well. But I'm going to go ahead and water them for the day and then get back upstairs. Typically I do bottom water. I am going to add some to this tray, but because I have so many onion trays going, I'm going to go ahead and use my little spray bottle. Maybe I need that. Okay, see that? I'm going to spray the onions real quick.
I'll go.
Yes. Usually I mostly just worry until everything germinates, and then from there I feel a great weight off my shoulders just because I'm always so nervous. I don't like wasting seeds. I'm kind of a cheap person, or frugal, I guess you could say. I don't really like to not do a good job the first time and have to buy seeds all over again and have the person's work go to waste that harvested those seeds and packed them, and then all the time that I kind of put into planting and trying to get things to grow. It's just a lot of a weight off my shoulders once things germinate and start doing well. It's kind of like being a parent for me. I kind of worry throughout pregnancy and things like that until I have a baby, and then once the baby is alive and in the world, it's a little bit less stressful because I know I did what I could do. And now, I mean, it is harder after you have a child, and then you still have things to worry about, don't get me wrong, but there is that little bit of worry while you're pregnant that, you know, something could go wrong, because it happens all the time. And once that baby's born, you kind of have done all you can do, and it's a little bit less worry. It's a different worry, let's say, once that baby comes out. Okay. So the Waltham 29 broccoli is actually the one that germinated the best. The magic broccoli, I'm not sure what the first word is, but green magic broccoli, I think, actually hasn't germinated at all. So we'll see. We'll see how things go. I'm going to take the lid off and just leave it as is so that the broccoli doesn't get too leggy. I did plant it pretty thick. Those seeds are so tiny, but they look so good. I'm excited about them. Yay! So hopefully they do well and continue growing, and then I can transplant them in a couple weeks to some bigger pots, give them room for the roots to grow, thin them out, which ones don't look the best, things like that. And then keep my fingers crossed that these onions germinate well, and maybe we'll get some lavender. That would be fun. And the celery also, because I don't know how it is at your grocery store, but at ours, there's no organic celery or carrots right now. It's really, really weird. I've gone to 2 different grocery stores near us, and we're kind of in the middle of nowhere, so it's not like I can go to a bunch of different ones, but I went to 2 different stores around us and there's no organic celery or carrots, and I need to make a big pot of chicken bone broth. I have 3 huge bags in my freezer that I need to just get out. So I need to find celery and carrots so I can get that done. And other than that, seed starting is underway for the 2023 season. I need to do some more research on the sweet potato method that I'm doing, just to make sure that I am doing it all correctly. And then I also plan to go through the rest of my seeds today to see what I'm going to be planting for this year, taking it out and then seeing when I'm supposed to start it, and then maybe I can be organized and try to figure out when the best time to start those seeds are based on when I need to start them indoors. And then I can kind of have a schedule laid out of when I need certain things on the germination mats, because I only have 3 germination mats right now. They do fit quite a few. I think each mat can fit about 3 trays on them. So width-wise, not lengthwise. So I just kind of need to time things correctly so that everything gets on the germination mats. And then once they germinate, I can move them off and start different plants. But I am excited for what we're going to be growing this year, and I'm going to go over that in the next video. Once I have all my seeds laid out for what we're going to be growing this year, I do still need to order some sweet corn. There's some Peruvian cherry tomatoes that I need to find seeds for, because it's kind of a weird thing. Yeah. Oh no. Do you need help building the truck again? You know how to do it. Here you go. Put it on the floor. Yeah. So the Peruvian cherry tomatoes, I had them once on a pizza when I lived down south, and they were delicious. So I actually have been wanting to find seeds for that for a while. So I am going to try to find seeds for that. So I need corn, those cherry tomatoes. I want to find some more Amish paste tomatoes, because I did grow quite a few of them, and I really like those for making tomato paste and sauces. Yeah, we'll go ahead and go through the seeds, see what I need to order still, and then I'll do a video on what we plan to grow for the year. But thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.